Hi, this is Jaina Jaslyn again. Today I'm going to be talking about something very special, and that is my relationship with my wife and her response to me coming out to her. Before I start that tale, I will briefly share with you the history of our relationship and marriage. I met my wife just over a decade ago. I had gotten through several breakups and I was done dating. And so was my wife. She had just gotten through some terrible breakups and she was done dating as well. So we met each other. It was actually a result of me stepping out of my comfort zone and going up to her table and talking with her and her two sisters. We hit it off and then coincidentally met again at a Halloween party 2 weeks later, and that's when I really hit it off with her. But I'm going to share my story of how I met my wife and how we fell in love on another episode. So I met her about 11 years ago, and we got married 8 years ago, and we've always been very close. Obviously, close in communication, that is. We value communication, open honesty, we value it greatly. Pardon, I'm a bit slow today because I don't have enough caffeine in my system, and it's a Monday, so I'm just gonna blame that. So we have open communication about everything, but there was always one secret I was keeping from her, and that was my cross-dressing. So when I came out to her about that, it was very emotional, and she started to cry, and I started to cry. And she asked me, "Does this mean you want to be a woman?" This was about 4 or 5 years ago, I'd say. I said, "No, of course not. Why would I? It's just I like dressing up in women's clothing. It brings me comfort. It brings me joy, and it helps me feel like myself. I should have known. But no, I'm not a woman, wife. No, I'm not." But she was supportive. She even gave me a few of her old things. I liked black, silky, lace kind of apparel only because that was hyper feminine and that was cross dressing was my outlet. So she didn't mind when I cross dressed in front of her, but we were both kind of awkward about it, so I always did it in private when she was gone. But she was cool with it, and I knew that she would be more open to expressions that are a bit different and a bit more misunderstood, like just like cross-dressing, and mostly so uh, transgender issues. So when I came out to myself, I knew I had to come out to my wife because at that point I realized there was no return. I had to go forward. I had to transition. So I came out to my wife. I chose to come out to her in our closet, which we call the sacred closet. I'll talk more about that closet specifically in later episodes, and you've seen it in previous episodes as well if you happen to be following along on my journey. So we were in our sacred closet time, and it was my turn to speak. And I told her, I am female, I am transgender female. My name is Jaina. I did not I did not say it bluntly like that, but I said a very similar thing in more words. She didn't respond favorably, but she also didn't respond surprisingly. I knew that this would be a hard pill for her to swallow. She needed a lot more time. Her only words were, "I'm not sure if I'm okay with this. I'm not sure I could be with a woman. Is this really what you feel, or is this because of your crisis that I just gotten through?" And I couldn't answer that because I was still fresh in my journey. So I had a choice because I could either try to dump my dysphoria and gender identity and stuff it like I had in the past, or I could try to push the topic deeper with my wife. And I did try that, and she kind of pushed back. I so I couldn't. Oh my gosh, my train of thought is derailing. This is crazy. Normally I'm like spunky on these videos and stuff comes out, but I'm struggling right now. And, bear with me. I'm gonna keep recording because there's no giving up. My wife pushed back, And I developed a strategy that would be my like number one tool. And the strategy is patience. I knew that this was a heavy topic. I knew there was so much that she didn't understand. So I had patience with her. And it hurt because you might identify with this. I was freshly dysphoric. I was, or as they say, I was freshly cracked out of my shell as an egg. And everything was new and exciting, and I wanted to express myself, and I wanted to transition as fast as possible. But here was this roadblock, my relationship with my wife, which I was committed to keep at all costs, even if it meant dealing with this dysphoria and continuing on as normal without being able to express my gender identity as I'd like, which is this. So we met in that sacred closet weeks later. Those were about 2 weeks of intense, painful patience. Oh my gosh. Having to keep putting it aside in my mind, it was tough. But the patience paid off because I would not be here, right here today, if it weren't for that. So we met again. This time I had typed up a story and I printed it out. And that story was my lifelong female expression journey. For example, I opened up about my early childhood cross-dressing, which started around the age of 4. I opened up about my teenage cross-dressing, where I would wait till all my family was out of the house, and I would run into my mom's wardrobe, and I would put stuff on, and I was surprisingly never caught. I shared with her my early 20s crisis where the dysphoria was so bad I wanted to self-mutilate, including self-mutilate my male parts. I'm surprised I got out of that, but unfortunately it was all thanks to alcohol, because I discovered alcohol around the same time. And if you've been following my story, you know where that led me. I am 3 months sober now, though. So I told her all of these things, and she just nodded. Like, okay, all right. I'm like, I didn't get a positive response, but she didn't ask me any of those prodding questions, and she didn't seem to doubt this time. She was processing it. Patience was a lot easier after that sacred closet session. And then we had another. This time, days later, I wrote her more. I read her more too. And this time something lit up. Like, I could tell I was getting to her. So it took one more after that. So about the 4th session, I read her something different. This was, I went from, I know I'm explaining this really bad. I apologize. If you're taking notes, I can send you what I did in depth. And if you, seriously, that's an offer. If you really want to know the details of these sacred closet sessions, how I kept patience, what I did to cope in that time, how I approached and talked to my wife, how I fielded her questions. If you want to know any and all of that, please let me know. I am very happy to share because I am committed to you. Continuing. All right, let's take a break and show you my new shirt. I just got this at a thrift store. It is so cute. If you could read all the words, awesome. And no, you're not checking out my boobs. These are stuffed. Hopefully in a few months I'll have a smaller pair of my own. Okay, sorry, vape break. No, I'm not a clouds bro. Clouds gal? Clouds girl? Yeah, I'm not a clouds girl. Just this little tiny rainbow thingy. Electronic cigarettes helped me quit the analog cigarettes 10 years ago when I first met my wife. I was smoking like almost 2 packs a day. So this has helped, and I don't cough up blood anymore. Okay, intermission over. Oh, by the way, skirt. If you could see it. Anyway, yeah, these are amazing finds. If you haven't already, go to thrift stores. They're gold mines. It's worth even taking a drive. And you can, beautiful thing, like a video game where things respawn over time, thrift stores respawn amazing fashion over time. So I would say, if you're eager, go once a month. If you are more patient, go once every 3 months, because then you'll get like a lot more options. And if you want to see my latest haul, check out episode number 9 of Just Jaina, where I show my parents all my wardrobe, but the video could, entertain anyone, not just my parents. So I'm gonna continue with this episode. At the end of the 4th session, my wife said something that turned on the green light for so many things. She said, "Okay, I'm starting to understand, Jaina." She used my name, my new name, my identity name, my real name, whatever you want to call it. She used my name. It was like a compressed bundle of kittens was thrust into my gut. The fluffy, warm, fuzzy euphoria was that was the first wave of euphoria, gender euphoria I got, and it was there is hope. So patience was even easier after that. So I'm gonna skip ahead because I value your time. And I wish I put my hair up in the ponytail because this is obnoxious. After that, then it was a matter of letting her get comfortable with it. While she did show her support by using the name Jaina, she was also still processing it, and it could easily backfire if I were to push too firmly after that point. For example, if I started presenting or forcing her to join me shopping, it would have given her a bad taste, and she might have recoiled a little bit. So I still had to have patience even after she vocalized her support and acknowledgement, and perhaps even affirmation. The story actually after this is very plain, and I'm not going to say it because it was that moment where the first domino collapsed, and it started the chain reaction. And I will share more about the maturation of my transition journey in a new video, but this was specifically talking about my wife and how I had to have patience with her. My wife is amazing. I have issues, she has issues. We are real together. We do not try to hide our issues, which is impossible after 10 years of being in a relationship and 8 years of marriage. But I love her, and I am blessed. The sad fact is, if you're in a relationship before you come out and then you do come out, the success rates are low. I mean, I don't know how many of those failure rates or separation rates are due to poor communication, or how many are due to simple incompatibility. For example, the person cannot, even if they tried, no matter how much they love you, cannot accept you living and presenting and behaving as the opposite sex of what they expected, if that makes sense. I probably messed up the terminology there. That's okay. So I'm lucky. I consider myself lucky, but I think there's always hope. No matter what kind of situation you're in, there's always hope. So I'm here for you if you have any questions. I hope I explained the early phases of me coming out to my wife. I hope I explained that well. And I apologize for this caffeine-free video. Oh my goodness. I'm going to end it here because this is way too long. If you watch this whole thing, you are awesome, and I want to give you a really big hug. I will record another video today probably, and after I get some caffeine in me. But thank you for watching. This is Just Jaina. Let me know if you have any questions, or if you have feedback for me. How is my videoing? Tell me. I would love to know. Or my makeup too, because I'm still practicing. Oh dear. Alrighty. Love you lots. Until next time, please subscribe and watch my crazy journey unfold. Bye.